Welcome back, gamers, to Top 10 Gaming. I'm your host, Johnny Rogers, and if you happen to be new to the channel, we put out daily content on everything video game related. So hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on another video. Plus, comment down below with which character from Cuphead is your favorite. Now let's jump into today's solo story of the scariest Cuphead creepypastas titled Cuphead.EXE. The following creepypasta is based on a story posted by a user called Creepypasta on Reddit. Great name. Our protagonist was at a friend's house playing some Xbox One when he fell in love with the game Cuphead. At the time, he was short on cash because of some repairs that he had to make on his car, so he opted to do what he usually does with games that he can't afford and found one online. Usually he's supported indie games to help with the up and coming developers, but in this scenario it just wasn't possible. He was familiar with pirating video games because his friend's older brother had shown him before, although he couldn't quite remember the site that he had used, so he searched Black Skull Games, assuming it was something like that. When he googled it, he simply clicked on the first site that came up. He was greeted with a page that looked very undeveloped. It looked like it hadn't been updated since the early 90s. Being that it was a video game torrent site though, he didn't expect much. The page was a stark black that looked like it could belong to the dark web. It only had three things on the site: a search bar, the name, Skull Black Gaming in Arial text, and an image of what appeared to be a real skull. The skull had been spray painted black and looked as though it was taken on a disposable camera. It was an unsettling sight with a defaced human skull, but instead of searching for more, he just pressed on. He assumed the skull was fake and meant to scare off the light at heart, and as he brushed it off, he searched Cuphead and hit enter. He was shocked when the first search result came up that read, Cuphead Early Copy 2015. Sure, it wasn't the newest or most polished copy of the game, but it was an opportunity to play an older version of it. It wasn't just that though, 2015 was also the year that our protagonist had become the most interested in the Cuphead's game development. For a moment, he almost regretted not searching for the game earlier. He could have been playing long before anyone else. He tapped the download button and almost instantaneously the file went into his download folder under the name Cuphead.EXE. When he clicked on the file to install it, an alarm blared through his speakers. It was coming from his antivirus program, which made sense. I mean, it was from a torrent site. He quickly turned it off, understanding that pirated games would often set off the software. The game began loading and he was soon greeted with the gaming company logo and the Cuphead opening intro scene began. He was happy to see the classic Cuphead animation playing and even more delighted to see the smiling faces of Cuphead and his friend Mugman. Although oddly, that's all that was there. No continue button, nothing. He tapped a few different keys on his keyboard to try and advance into the game, but nothing happened. After several minutes, he became disheartened that the download was a dud. As his eyes glanced back at the characters of the game, he noticed something had changed. Cuphead wasn't moving in his normal motions of the bobbing up and down. He was just standing perfectly still, like a statue. He then began to oddly sway back and forth as his chest rose and fell in an eerily realistic way. Cuphead stared blankly at the protagonist as if he knew he was there. That's weird, the gamer said under his breath. Trying to shake off what he thought was a glitch, he searched for a controller, assuming that that's the reason why the game wasn't starting. As he walked away from the computer screen, the music from the game stopped playing altogether. Almost like a record scratch moment from the movies. Literally as soon as he stood up, the cheery music just came to a dead halt of absolute deafening silence. When he turned back to see what the game was doing, Mugman was now gone. There was just Cuphead now in the center of the screen, and this time his eyes were not blank, they were directly staring at the protagonist. What the hell, he said. As he slowly approached the screen, reaching for the escape key, Cuphead slowly lowered his head as the gamer mashed the escape key, trying to stop whatever was about to happen. Nothing worked. He tried Ctrl-Alt-Delete, but still nothing. The computer didn't respond to anything. As Cuphead continued to tip his head downwards, he slowly revealed what was truly in his cup. Steeped in some sort of strange liquid was a harlequin fetus, a severe genetic disorder that affects the skin in infants. It's a very hard and yet alien-looking thick skin that covers most of their bodies. The protagonist immediately puked into the garbage can under his computer desk at the sight of this shocking imagery. The fetus opened and closed its mouth as the tide of the liquid in the cup floated back and forth while Cuphead moved. An umbilical cord then flopped over the side of the cup onto Cuphead's face as he smirked. His eyes were filled with evil intentions, as if he could see the boy's reaction to it all and reveled in it. The fetus's head kept it buoyant, but its body was bloated beyond any proportional logic. As he backed away from his computer, knowing that he exhausted his options, there was no escape. Thinking quickly, he reached for the computer's power cord as his eyes locked with Cuphead's. In one swift motion, he yanked the power cord from the socket as a jolt of electricity shot through his body, paralyzing him. He couldn't move a muscle. He could only watch in horror as Cuphead tossed the fetus into the air, catching it in its mouth. Tears streamed down his face as he saw the character's jagged shark-like teeth shred this human life to pieces. He struggled to move as Cuphead then directed his attention to the gamer. Now with blood dripping from the sides of its mouth, Cuphead let out an evil laugh as his demonic voice blared through the speakers. He said, "Thanks for playing Cuphead.EXE." And that has been our solo story of the scariest Cuphead creepypastas titled Cuphead.EXE. Thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, show us some love by tapping that like and subscribe button. Plus, don't forget to comment down below with your thoughts on this story. And for more videos like this one, all you have to do is click that playlist on your screen. From Top 10 Gaming, I'm Johnny Rogers. Until next time, take care.